Greetings, my fellow citizen survivors. As you may well know, our beautiful country has been overrun by flesh-eating monsters. This is a 7 days to die public service announcement to help you live through this attack. Obviously, the best way to deal with these monsters is with a ranged weapon, something along the lines of a pistol or a shotgun or a hunting rifle. But if you don't have access to one of those, for one of any myriad of reasons, such as you can't find the key to your gun cabinet, or you simply haven't found one yet, or you're out of ammunition, or worst case, you live in one of the dreaded blue zones, this guide is to help you live through this. The first thing to know about these creatures is that they are no longer human. Do not think of them as your neighbor or family members. They are monsters. And as such, they have lost any regard for their own well-being or safety. This means they will relentlessly chase you. They will come after you until they get you or you get them. In this video, we will examine some of the ways you can fend these monsters off with some household items you may already have, such as the hunting knife or that spiked club you have laying around for whatever reason, or the large sledgehammer, which leaves quite a mess. Anyway, let's get to it. First, make sure your weapons are at the highest level you can possibly get them and that they are repaired. Always keep your weapons repaired. They'll be much more efficient. Now let's take a look at the attack pattern of some of these weapons. First up is the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer comes pretty much straight down, and it's kind of slow but very powerful. Ideal for taking out that infected coworker or neighbor. Now, the spiked club swings more at a 45-degree angle down, and the knife you'll see is almost perfectly horizontal. That can really come in handy. You can even use a torch as a club, sometimes setting your opponent on fire. It also shares the 45-degree angle down pattern. Here is the axe, the fire axe. It's pretty much straight down. It is not a terribly efficient weapon, but it can be used. And a plain club, which is like fighting a bear with a stick, but sometimes you fight with what you got, not with what you want. And here is the stone axe. It is also a weak weapon, coming straight down. And here is the steel pickaxe. It is also not the best weapon, but it will get the job done. First, some of the basics. Attempt to lure the undead onto a roadway. That way you know you're on even ground. After you kill them, you can find them easily to loot them. They're not lost in the brush. Always check behind yourself and make sure you're not about to back into something or that you're being attacked from behind. If you can lead them down the road, you'll end up with a string of undead behind you, making it much easier to kill them in a neat, orderly fashion. It is always best to back away from your opponent. This gives you more time to precisely aim. Hit them in the head or upper torso. That will stun them, and then you can rush in for the kill shot. But don't take too much time, or they will recover and come at you with renewed vigor. If you are faced with a crawler, it is best to go into a crouch mode. That way, you can strike more out instead of down. If you're striking down at your feet, your swing has to be much more precise. And if you allow a crawler to get that close, it may reach out and break your leg. And then you'll need a nurse. Just kidding. Even the feral white, the granddaddy of them all, can be taken out this way. Now remember, the knife with its horizontal slashing motion is also quite effective against crawlers. Oh, my bad, I got distracted. And now let's take a look at a couple of practical applications of a large industrial sledgehammer. That's one. And here's one for good measure. Oh, honey, you're home. Good night. Oh shit, he's not stuck down there. Taking on a bear with a hammer. Alright, I don't care how big you are. If you take a sledgehammer to the nuts of somebody, they're going down. Oh, warriors, come out and play. Hammer time! 7 Days to Die does not seem to have a block feature, so you must avoid their swing. Jump back when they swing, charge and strike right after they swing. Learn their patterns. Now remember, citizen survivors, the important thing is timing. This is a slow weapon, but an effective one, but timing is essential. Now the hunting knife can be a very effective close quarter weapon. Slash and then back up. Remember, in any situation, always aim for the head. With the crawlers, crouch and slash. Oh, the spiked club. I love the spiked club. There's just something about wielding a big, heavy spiked club that makes you just want to smack something. A lot. Another thing to keep in mind is to try and separate the undead so they're not all grouped up. That is a recipe for a disaster. Most of the zombies walk during the day, more on that later, but they all walk at slightly different speeds. You can actually use this to help separate them. I like to use the spike club on the infected cops, but boy, you got to get right up in their grill and start wailing. Otherwise, they'll get a chance to explode and take you off the map with them. This guy was surrounded by random zombies that I had to take out to get to him, and I thought he was going to explode, but I didn't hear his heart beating yet, so I charged back in and finished him off, although you can see he's getting ready to detonate. Infected dogs can seem to come out of absolutely nowhere, and your first indication that you're being attacked is this snarl. Quick now, drop to a crouch, grab your spiked club, back away as fast as you can, and start swinging. A bit of bad luck there. I was taken by surprise while I was building, and it was a pack of 3, and I took some damage. So now I'm going to have to go into my pack here and self-medicate. Now remember, the reason you crouch when dealing with spiders, dogs, and crawlers is that way you're on their level and you can strike forward, out, and you can strike farther. If you're standing up and they attack, then you're striking down at your own feet and you can't hit them until they're on top of you. Now always remember, citizen survivors, dogs, feral whites, and bears are just as fast in the daytime as they are at night. Now listen up, citizen survivors. Stick around because here in just a bit I'm going to be showing you how to use a zombie to clear out a minefield. But first, let's look at the stone axe. Now you'll notice the stone axe is not a very good weapon. It takes me 4 strikes One of them was a headshot to take this guy down. The other problem with a stone axe is it's rather short and they get too close to you and they can cause damage to you. So it will work, but I would avoid it. Next up we get the steel fire axe. This is a good all-around tool. You can cut with it and you can cut down the undead with it. You'll notice the steel axe only took 2 whacks, even though it was a level 400 tool, and the stone axe took 4, even though it was a 600 level tool. However, the steel axe is still kind of slow to swing, and that is why I prefer the spiked club over the steel axe. Also notice that even though the steel axe is clearly an edged weapon, you cannot harvest the fat or bone from the undead with it. For that, you still need a hunting knife or a bone shiv. Alright, survivors, now let's talk about one of my personal favorites, and that is the torch. It may not cause a lot of damage on its own, however, there's a high probability that you will catch the undead on fire. And call me sick, many people have, but I just enjoy watching them burn. So, remember that never forget the torch as a weapon. Remember, however, that it is slow to swing and you have to get your timing just right, so practice, practice, practice. Now remember, whenever you come across one of these military camps, it is going to be abandoned, most likely, and also surrounded by landmines. So, we'll take a look at the landmines in a moment. Here's one of the ways to clear them out using zombies. Zombies are a beeline creature. They come straight at you. So if you can kind of go around the corner of one of these camps, it will force them to walk near the fence, and there's a high probability they will step on a landmine. Observe this guy kind of off in the distance, and there he goes. So, that's one way to clear out landmines. Now let's take a look at the landmines. There's one right there, and there's one right here. That's what they look like. They blend in. They're often behind a tuft of grass. That's why I was taking the tufts of grass out. You cannot pick them up. If you try and pick them up, you'll blow yourself up. And I have stayed back and thrown rocks at them, trying to set them off. And maybe you can do it, but I certainly have not been able to. Now, this PSA is all about melee weaponry, but I will tell you, if you have a ranged weapon, such as a gun, you can fire at these things and detonate them at a distance. However, you will want to be on a wood frame or two, as that does give you the height advantage. Alright people, that concludes our melee public service announcement. Remember, we are a hardy people, and we are not going to allow a little bit of death to get us down. Do your best to survive in this new environment we find ourselves in, and check back often for more tips and tricks on how to survive. I'm out.